You are listening to the Hammersy Brothers e-commerce podcast. Like what you hear and want to take the shortcut on your e-commerce growth? Join hundreds of brands that work with us and head over to joinhb.com. That's joinhb.com and see how we can help you further. Join our members and smash your targets and unlock the profits within your e-commerce site. Hello Ian, how are you?
Hey Mark, good evening.
I seem to have found you in your car.
Yeah, I'm in my car. I've gone back to the original podcast studio that I had, all these years ago, 5 years ago, when I was in my car. And they're in the car because we seem to have an irregular time for the podcast, even though it was in the calendar. I decided to go to the gym at work, and here I am in the car. So, ironically, I think it's better quality in the car, and I think my head, I think I've got one light from one headrest and one light from the other mirror.
Well,
perfect studio lighting.
It's a Tesla studio. I mean, to be honest, if they think about noise cancelling, it's probably quite a good environment to do a podcast because it's all noise cancelling all around you. Anyway, last week we talked about how our predictions for 2025 went and what actually happened in 2025. And we promised people this week that we would talk about our predictions for 2026. So we've just been brainstorming a little bit of those and going through some. And I don't know if you can remember them, but I'll start going through some of them, and then we can see what we think is going to happen in 2026. And hopefully people give you a bit of a guide on what to focus on this year to obviously do a lot better in e-commerce than they did in 2025. That's always the goal, isn't it? So,
yes.
What are you laughing about?
It's just sort of like an obvious statement. No, it's not the goal. The goal is to make people intrinsically less successful.
And remember,
not scary.
Remember to like and subscribe. You've got to say that. Apparently, I spent £20,000 on a course. And that was pretty much what they said. No, I didn't. Anyway, so the number one
never
thing we
trust
said,
a course.
Number one thing that we said, the first thing, this is not the most important thing, was that how AI will continue to help people speed up what I'm saying is those who know how to do something, AI will continue to help those people who already know how to do something. So what I'm saying is that AI will not be a replacement for stupidity. So like what I'm seeing is that AI is really helping me with the things that I already know how to do. And so like creating good ads, I know what a good ad looks like. I can just get there a lot faster with AI. Whereas if I didn't know what a good ad was, I could get to much faster to a crap ad. It's basically helping me to the level that I'm at. It's augmenting or it's amplifying the level that I am. So the reason I mention this now is because I've just been on a call with someone who's using AI just to run all their ads, and it was looking at Google and I was looking at Facebook, and it was kind of like a junior agency making all the mistakes that a junior agency makes, like spending a lot on brand and spending all those kind of things. And so AI is probably a great tool for certain things, but you still have to know the fundamentals of what you're doing to actually know whether it's doing a good job. And I think that will continue.
Okay. I would say, can I give you my opinion on what you've just said?
Absolutely. That's what you're here for.
I think it, and obviously being my brother, I can lay into you a bit, but I think it's pretty lame, to be honest, that we start the podcast talking about AI, because it's like everybody who's talking about predictions for 2026 is going to be talking about AI. And I think it's like, oh my God, like, do you think it's like, of course it's pretty obvious. I think what I'll say is two things that have impacted my life. And obviously when I say my life, because we're running our own e-commerce brands as well as everybody else is in the program. I've seen the AI be more and more intrinsically inbuilt in the tools itself. So rather than going to ChatGPT or Grok and going, can you do this for me? It's inside Shopify. It's inside Klaviyo. it's inside Google, and it's in Google Ads, and it's inside Meta, Facebook ads already. It's already in built. So, whether or not you like it or not, you will be starting to use it completely normally in all these operations, like writing copy and subject lines in Klaviyo, right? Changing your pictures in Shopify. Like it's not like you can't not use it. So I think that's becoming really nice. It's um the other side of AI is obviously the search. I mean, I actually thought you were going to start there with more people using AI search, and I think that is of moderate interest to me, and I say that in a slightly cynical way, because we're in danger of buzzwords territory here. Like it was, go back 10 years ago, mobile first. And, everyone was talking about mobile first. Like as in, we're an agency that does mobile first approach. It was just like some sort of ridiculous buzzword. And I think we're in danger of that happening in e-commerce. But of course, we are seeing more people searching inside AI, and for recommendations. So obviously it is of interest to us because it's okay, how do you appear in the search results of the AI? So take one of our brands, bedding, people are going into ChatGPT and saying, can you give me some recommendations for the best online bedding companies that has the perfect blend between quality and price and value for money? Like, we want to be in that result, and we are in that result.
Yeah,
And
people
we're
are starting to
seeing
say it in our
those.
reviews.
Yeah, we're seeing it and we're also seeing it in the tracking sources as well. So we're like, oh, that's interesting. So obviously, it'd be stupid of us not to talk about it and how to influence it. And I think, to be honest, the reality of it is actually pretty straightforward and obvious. Actually, how you get into those results in the AI search results, it isn't rocket science, and it is actually pretty straightforward. But I think that's a kind of like, no disrespect, Mark, I think that's kind of like a tick box. Like, we're not going to look back at the end of 2026 and go, we were wrong there. It's
No,
not
I
a
think
controversial one. And
I think what we're saying though is that the hype, it's called geo, isn't it? Instead of SEO, it's called geo. And I think that there's a danger with all these hype things of people with small businesses thinking that if they just figured out geo, they would become a billionaire overnight. And it's not going to become that tool in 2026. It might help sales. It might help you like do better sales and stuff like that, but it's not going to be like revolutionize your business.
yeah.
And I think
And do you know what?
that's like one of those
It
shiny
is.
things that people can go
Oh,
and lose
it
time on.
is. It is a marketer's dream, this. This is dream because what marketers want to sell, when I say marketers, I'm talking about e-commerce consultants and other e-commerce, agencies. What they want to sell you is the secret magic wand. That's what they want. They want to sell you that, oh my God, there's something over here that's incredible unlock. And so they are putting this narrative out there that there is this new technology with AI infusedness, or there's this way we're using AI, and it is like a marketer's dream, because we all want to sell the secret. So just take it sensibly, logically, and I would say just be practical with it.
Yeah. Well, the reason betting envy is coming up in ChatGPT is because we've got loads of Trustpilot reviews. So they're using like those signals that they know are trust signals, and they're picking those up. So, the reason we've got good trust reviews is because we do a good customer service. And the reason we do a good customer service is we know it's important. And, like there's all those things built in. So it's a bit like SEO, where Google said, have a great website, have a good engaged website, and we'll give you good SEO. And it's similar to kind of like geo, is that, you're not going to suddenly kind of figure out some kind of crazy hack and, get millions and millions and millions of pounds or dollars worth of business coming.
Well, I'd say the other thing as well. I would say the other thing, just to cut you off a bit slightly, is that lots of people in the program are asking us about it, and they want our opinion on it. So we are about to release a workshop about it, and I think when I said before, it's actually not rocket science. It's pretty fundamentally simple. So I think I'd probably say, look, go and watch the workshop that we're going to do on it, because I think that'll be the easiest way to cut through.
It'll be the practical side of it. And I'm looking forward to see that workshop you do, Ian, on it.
Good.
And so, okay, here's a prediction about what businesses we think will do well in 2026. So I think we saw hobby businesses continue to do well in 2025. I think that they will continue to do well in 2026. So businesses like sewing, needlepoint, knitting, stuff that help people relax, that gets them away from screens. There's a lot of people who want to do things away from their phones because the kind of high cortisol, the dopamine kind of cycle that they get with the phones. People are realizing that they need to have those kind of things, particularly older people who are kind of harking back to something they may did when they were younger. But those businesses are really going to grow in 2026, and we're seeing that trend. So
I agree with that.
Luckily, we've got a lot of people doing those kind of businesses.
I think I agree with that. Not only for two reasons. Number one, I agree with that because, there is a movement toward people trying to get off the phones. There was a movement for people staying in, going on the phones, and now and I think now there's a movement for that sense of need. But I think those businesses, the hobby businesses, are really nice because you can find those customers inside Meta, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
Right? You can find them because we know who they are. We know where they hang out. We know what they want. We know what emotionally triggers them. And that's why if you want your ads to work and your site to work, you have to emotionally understand where the customers are and how they think. And so that's why we love those type of businesses, because we know exactly who the customers are and how to find them. So tick on both fronts.
I also think they are good businesses because they can build an online community as well. So the people doing those businesses, they feel like they're part of something. Everybody's on their own in the house a lot of the time, and still not like as social as they used to be.
Two reasons we would want an online community. Well, three reasons we want an online community. Number one, trust and credibility. Number two, promotes word of mouth. And number three, it promotes lifetime customer value. So they're like brilliant for an e-commerce. You think about, they're the things that you need to create. Great.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm over talking you today. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, we've only got 10 minutes left.
I'm just more important than you.
Better go.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So the third point is I think volume agencies who primarily focus on small ad account spending on about 5K, they're gonna dwindle a lot more. Like the need for that agency to get people started on Google ads and Meta ads and the stuff that it's kind of gone. The Meta ads and Google ads, I can teach someone within a couple of weeks to even less than that to be able to get set up very easily with a kind of best in class setup. An agency would probably charge a minimum £500 to a month, like to set that up. You might as well spend that on ads. It's £1,000.
Or they'll take commission, they'll take a performance commission, and they'll take a percentage of spend. And sometimes if you're in a certain stage, it can be really, really valuable. But other times it's a complete and utter, particularly at the startup.
And that's a big deal because
it can be a real problem.
I would say that 80% of agencies out there are targeting that small customers. There's obviously the big guys who manage a large amount of spend, and that's the agency that I've got working on my side of things. But I think you're going to see that dwindle, and I think people are going to start realizing that they're not needed. I think tracking will continue to be. We'll still see that war between Meta and Google and Apple. And Apple keep cutting it. Like my son was looking at the click IDs, and on the 7th of January, Apple made a change that started pulling out the click IDs and the Facebook click IDs and the Google click IDs and stuff like that, and making it more difficult for everybody to track. So there's constant movements towards them not wanting to see anything, and so we're going to see increasingly use of server-side tracking becoming more important and almost essentially essential, really. And it probably, the thing is, when something becomes essential, something like Shopify will probably come along and eventually do their own version of essentialness, you know what I mean? Like, whereas before
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of like an extension and stuff. Like Shopify is very good at saying, well, okay, now this is completely needed, everybody's going to need it, we'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
So you get that kind of almost like the Shopify killer of the killer app. So they start doing something. I can't remember what an example of that, but like, you know, like somebody does like something. Oh, like for example,
You
like
see
Google
this
Shopping.
across,
Well, like all the shopping,
yeah.
all the online shopping things like Kelco, Shopee, Shopping.com, those kind of things. And Google started doing shopping themselves, and it just killed
Mm.
them as a business. And
You see this
Shopify's got the
across all
power to do that.
software.
Yeah,
Look at Microsoft would be an example. With all the software people built or apps for Microsoft, they just go and buy it and build it themselves. So it's in part
yeah,
integral. They
yeah,
use it as their roadmap. But um, yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
yeah. So the fifth point is I think it will continue to be a year of opportunities for disruptors. So brands that are actively disrupting sectors. So, you've got like the laundry detergents who are going against the big like chemical based things and like just doing subscription based stuff. People who are coming out with better models, people who are managing to get better margins than other people in traditional areas, like moving online. Like there's all that disruption that's still going
But it's
on.
always been that case. It's always been the case. Is if you were going to grow by stopping people buying from somebody else, you're going to grow by being a disruptive. You have to
Mm,
stop somebody buying from somebody else. You have to change a habit. So in order to be in order to be disruptive, you have to be a disruptor. And
yeah.
who you're going to attack. And I think that's, if you get that right. And I think now you can take on some of these huge. I mean, people like Procter and Gamble and
Mm.
those kind of ridiculous size businesses who are possibly slower to move than you will be, and you can just go and take a slice
Well,
of
it's
their
like a death
market. And guess what?
for
The
that.
best thing, hang on,
Mm,
guess what? The best thing is about that is you take a slice of Procter and Gamble's market. Guess what happens when you get to 10 million? They buy
buy you.
you.
Probably a bit more
You're
than
like
10 million, but
brilliant.
mm.
Well,
But it's like for them, it's like a
but
death by a thousand cuts. It's like they've got a laundry detergent for everybody, and someone comes out a laundry detergent for dog owners, and someone comes out with a laundry
yeah,
detergent for people who've got bad skin, or
and
someone
you
comes out with
can
laundry, everything.
find the customers, and that's why. So that's why online. There's a perfect example that of to think about the traditional bricks and mortar store. You can't do that. You cannot take where you're going to sell it. You've got the pet stores
Mm.
and how many pet stores you've got. I don't know. I mean, not that many pet stores, is there? And you've got one little tiny shelf space. One little tiny thing. But of course, online you can find the customers. So, I mean, I think the other area. I don't know if this is on your list because we did briefly chat about it before, but was the health and wellness brand. So people,
Mm.
for example, if you're selling a product that is slightly sensitive to the needs of gender, male or female, let's say menopausal women would be a group that it's slightly more sensitive, and it's a classic online. It's the same thing
Yeah.
about men's health, testosterone and baldness and
Hair loss. Yeah. People
hair.
are a lot less accepting of it. Like when our father went, by my age, my dad was completely bald. I mean, and to be honest, your father too, thinking of it, given that we're brothers.
Yeah,
Um, and it was just completely accepted, wasn't it? Whereas like nowadays,
he was born
people,
bald. I think. I mean, he did. I don't think he ever had any hair.
that's as far as we're concerned. Yeah. But like, it's like people don't want to accept things now. And so
Well,
they're willing to spend a
aging
lot of
is
money on,
aging is just another problem that we have solved.
yeah.
That's what the cosmetics and health brands are
It's like the
are really portraying.
Brian Johnson going saying, don't die. He's like, oh, well, death, it's just a minor inconvenience. Let's get rid
Yeah,
of that.
it's just another thing to solve. We've solved it, and but I mean, look at some of the brands that have grown really well this year or 2025. Was actually some of the health and wellness beauty products centered around a particular demographic, like menopausal women.
Yeah. Yeah.
It should, because it's become, this.
It's getting
I
a lot
mean,
of
in
chatter
the UK,
online. It's growing.
yeah.
It
It's
gets
become
lots
much
cut
more,
through.
yeah,
People are willing to spend money on it, and they're
and
not
it's a
being
place that
served
you.
in the
Where
high
would you
street.
go? Yeah, they're not being served in
Mm.
the high street. Yeah, where would you go? Would you walk into Boots and say, "Hey, I want to talk about my my menopausal, my hair problems"? It's hard to do that, and it's the same thing on the male side. You classic, you're going to go online, and that is explosive growth, and also they're compounding businesses too. So the
Mm.
multiples and the maths of them are wild, because they have great margin, great lifetime customer value. They are almost like born for e-commerce, aren't they? They are, a certain demographic, a very clear problem, very acute emotion, a high margin, reasonable average order value, high repeat. They're exciting businesses to own and be in that space.
Yeah.
Go on.
The only other couple of things we got in the last minute. And I was basically saying, I think things like wine will continue to decline. There's this, like, whereas when we grew up, like, everybody was talking about like how a glass of red wine actually made you healthier. Now that all the things like no alcohol's good and stuff like that.
I
So
mean,
you
I
just
don't know about. I think this is unique to your house, because I'm still having a nice glass of wine every night. I don't know what you're talking about.
just
Don't
because
tell me people are stopping drinking wine. What else?
they
What else
are.
have I got? For God's sake, I'm
What
a
else you got?
middle-aged man with
No,
three
it's just
kids.
it's the demographics. You talk to any wine person, they're struggling. Also, the new demographic, the new 18-year-old who is about to who would traditionally go into nightclubs and bars and stuff. They are not traditionally. They are drinking a lot less than we did at that age.
I'm gonna call your prediction bullshit there about wine. I'm sorry, I'm gonna call that. Let's see what happens at the end of 2026. Whether or not wine has declined. You think wine online is going to decline? I don't agree.
Well, it did last year, I
Well,
think. Anyway, we'll look at
you
that.
have no idea.
We'll look at that.
What
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say, because the last one was far more interesting, is that in 2026, the importance of understanding your numbers and being a business architect is
Yeah,
way
you've got
more
to.
important than
Yeah.
being. If you were trying to grow an e-commerce business, the 2026, you have to forget about knowing e-commerce. You have to become a business architect. What I mean by this, you have to understand how your fixed costs relate to your profit, how your profit velocity relates to your ad spend. How a margin of lifetime customer value will
Yeah,
mean that you
you
have to do
can't
a
blag
certain
it
volume.
anymore.
The work that I've been doing in 2025, and is even going to be more and more like this in 2026, is I've been a business architect. I haven't been an e-commerce consultant. I've been a business architect. I've gone in and I am fundamentally getting into cash flow analysis and fixed costs and profitability, and how aggressive we should be with the, like it's the P&L, and it's the financial, it's the architecting of it. That's the key. You can't just come and look at the cherry on the top and look, well, maybe I can change my creative of my ads. That is not enough. Like, you have to get into the nub of profit and cash flow and scaling. And that's my prediction of 2020. So I think that's going to become even more critical.
Yeah.
So
So
that's my
just some
take.
closing comments for me. I think that 5 years ago, you were running an e-commerce business as your competitors were in the room. So there was 10 of you, probably 2 of them would have figured out the numbers. 2026, 9 of them will figure out your numbers. And if you're the one that doesn't, then you're really going to struggle. So it's matured. It's not like no one's recreating the wheel in e-commerce. Everybody knows what the costs are. Everybody knows what the margins should be. Everybody knows what they should be paying for ads. Everybody knows those numbers, those ratios. And like, you can't blag it anymore. You just can't. Like, everything's gonna set on fire. It's might like
Yeah.
want to set your money on fire.
Yeah.
So
It's
like,
not
you've
good
just got to
enough. And if
understand
you've
it.
been getting away with it,
Mm.
and I telltale sign, if you have an agency and the agency is saying to you, "What's my budget this month?" If that is the question you're getting asked, then they don't understand the numbers properly. There shouldn't be a budget. There should be a cost of acquisition, a new customer ROAS, and an overall ROAS. And if you're setting yourself a fixed budget, and if you don't know what you should be spending, on acquiring a customer and how that relates to different differentiating margins and different lifetime customer values, then you are either leaving money on the table or you're putting too much, you're not spending enough,
Definitely. So,
Okay.
I think, I don't know whether we might have a few more things to talk about next week about 2026. We'll see how, because obviously we feel like we've rushed through with these things, but those are the main points that I wanted to focus on. And I think that 2026 will be probably a more extreme version of 2025, really. Like that's kind of how we're seeing it. So the things that worked in 2025 will continue to work in 2026, but more of an amplification of the things that work well, and the things that work badly in 2025 will work even worse in 2026. I think that's how it'll work.
Sounds like a little get out of jail free card, that one. It's like some things will work well and some things will not work well. And
look,
we'll tell you at the
end.
It's
a pithy way to predict the year where you could say, look. Anyway, very much thanks for speaking to me in a car park, Ian, and I will speak to you next week.
I enjoyed it. Thanks, Mark. Bye.
Bye.